Today, Conservatives present a common sense action plan to protect our people in these times. Our first proposal is we want the government to immediately ban the Iranian terrorist group, the IRGC. This is the most sophisticated, well-financed terror group on planet Earth. It was behind coordinating the October 7th attacks in Israel. It coordinates with other terrorist groups like Hezbollah, which are criminalized in Canada. According to a recent Global News report, there are 700 regime and IRGC agents operating with impunity, using stolen money, terrorizing our Persian and Jewish populations, and putting Canadians at risk on our soil. I will add, this terrorist group fired a missile at a civilian aircraft, killing over 100 Canadians. This was almost 4 years ago. Can you imagine what kind of prime minister would allow a terrorist group to fire a missile at killing our people, and 4 years later he lets them legally operate in our country with impunity? This is a disgrace, and it is time that Justin Trudeau stood up to defend our people against these IRGC murderers and terrorists by banning them today. And we should work to kick out every single regime, agent, or terrorist that is operating in this country, of which 700 have been identified. Second, we need to establish a foreign influence registry, something the government promised it would do back in June. We have multiple Beijing-controlled police stations harassing the Chinese population in Canada. We have, as I said, 700 Iranian regime agents harassing Persian and Jewish Canadians. And countless others may be operating as well. We want a foreign agent registry, which requires that the government, that anyone who works for a foreign dictatorship register, have their names publicized and exposed. Third, the United Kingdom has said that Canada is the likely spot for a terrorist attack. Now, Canada's government says that there's only a medium risk. Well, the Prime Minister said the other day that there has been a terrorist attack on our people. There was a terrorist attack there are multiple terrorist attacks against synagogues and schools in Montreal, according to the Prime Minister, while he says the risk level is only medium. We also have terrorist attacks that happened against innocent Muslims in Quebec City and in London, Ontario, and we've had churches burned down. We need to have a review of Canada's assessment of the risk of an attack in this country. Fourth, we need to remove red tape from the Security Infrastructure Program, which protects places of worship and other community centers from attacks. That means quickly approving funding to protect our people. There's one mosque I visited where their people were mowed down by a car, and now by a terrorist who came onto their property. They've been waiting 2 years to get protection for their place of worship, but the whole application is stuck in more red tape and bureaucracy. We want to streamline it so that all places of worship, synagogues, mosques, temples, gurdwaras, churches, can protect themselves against future attacks. And finally, we want to create a task force against anti-hate violence that would coordinate federal intelligence and law enforcement with local police. The risk we have is that federal intelligence bureaucracies in Ottawa may be aware of a potential risk, and if they don't tell the local police of where that risk could manifest itself, the attack could happen before anyone has a chance to prevent it. We want one coordinated task force that will bring together law enforcement at all three levels of government to share intelligence, interrupt attacks, and protect our people. This is a common sense plan to keep all of our people safe. After terrorist attacks against synagogues and schools in Montreal, against innocent Muslims in Quebec City and London, harassment of other communities of faith across this country, including burning down of churches. Enough is enough. We need a common sense government that will protect all of our people, something that our Prime Minister has failed to do after 8 long years. We live in a much more dangerous country where crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are common in our streets, where people are afraid to live. This is the necessary consequence of Justin Trudeau's bad decisions. He is not worth the crime, not worth the chaos, not worth the danger. It's time for a common sense, conservative government that will protect our people. Thank you, and I welcome your questions.
It was an expected war. It's unfortunate because this generation have to experience such sadness.